What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we are going to take a look at Obi-Wan Kenobi from the series Kenobi, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below. At the time of this video, there's only 4 left. Hopefully it's gone by that time, because it's a really fun figure to have. It's not perfect. You've seen, the head sculpt, the biggest criticism, but it's actually better than the prototype that they released. And this is a DX figure. What is this? DX26? But yeah, if you're a fan of Kenobi or the series, I know there's not a whole lot of people who liked the TV show. Unpopular opinion, I really liked it. My kids loved it, so that's all that matters to me. And I'm glad that I have this. It's a DX figure. It looks good. Actually looks pretty good. It's, again, you can see the head sculpt here. I don't know if this is a prototype from the previous version, but it improved a lot. Still not the best looking head sculpt that Hot Toys has ever made, but it is an improvement nonetheless. But besides that, I'm just happy to have an Obi-Wan, like a proper Obi-Wan in my collection. Like I said, I love the series. I like that Vader out there. I'm debating between this Vader, because I already got the other one pre-ordered, and I told myself I'm just gonna get one Vader. But it is, because I love this figure, I am really tempted to get that. The battle damage head sculpt, and all that stuff just really speaks to me. But at the same time, I feel like I'm gonna get my money's worth on the 40th Vader. I don't know, maybe I'll have 2 Vaders, who knows, right? But we'll find out. But we'll focus on this figure. The hair obviously is a bit different than what they showed in the prototype, and that is a good thing. That's actually a good thing. So this is a DX figure. That's why you see the foam packaging and all that stuff. The base is one of a kind. I love the base because it comes with a bunch of rocks that I could use for other figures. Like it is floating, but you could remove them from the base itself. It is a recycled base. We've seen this base before, but they made some modifications out of the base. They attached like a rock right next to it. But in totality, this is the base that we've seen from, I guess the first time we've seen it is from, if I'm not mistaken, Mark 85 battle damage. So that is it. A different hue of gray, which I don't understand why they're all different hues of, color of these rocks. Because I have, I don't know, like 4 of these now. And look at this. This is the Mark 85 battle damage. This one comes with a clear pole, but it does have that, rock that is protruding out of it. You see all the different accessories in the tray, but we're going to take a closer look in his accessories here. So different format here. I'm making a use of my overhead rig, and you can see here this is one of the hands that he comes with. He comes with decent amount of hands, not as much as I wanted it to have. This one holds the lightsaber. You got and you got 2 of them. You got this hand which is multi-purpose. This is to hold the binoculars according to the instructions. But at the same time, you are going to use this hand as well, which is not perfect, by the way, because his pinky and the ring finger is, hanging out there to hold the blaster that he does have. And this is the peace sign / I don't know, force hand, you want to call it. This is the normal relaxed hands that they have. It's still a little outdated, not gonna lie. This is a unique hand because this is the hand that he used holding this lightsaber when he made that, famous lifting off the rocks and all that stuff. So, you are going to position it not like that, but something like this. A very awkward way of holding a lightsaber with 2 fingers, but hey, he did it. So Hot Toys needs to be accurate from, the TV show and the screen. And then you get a bunch of accessories at the bottom as well. So this is the junction box that as you know, Hot Toys is using USB-C now to power this lightsaber, which I do like. This is to control the rolling eyeball system. You have Organa's hologram here, which I don't know how many people really uses this hologram. Hey, they're here. They exist. This is from Leia's robot, or companion. Forgot what the name is, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's nicely painted. You're probably gonna use it once, maybe twice, ever, but hey, it's included. And then you get two lightsaber hilts. One is to have him hold it. One is the light up version, which, as you can see, it does have the cord, which you could strategically hide or not, depending on how you wanted to approach your Obi-Wan. And you got a blaster here, or of a handgun kind of thing, nicely detailed. You can see the texture on the handle, and of course you have the lightsaber effects. One is the swooshing one. It's really heavy. I don't know if anyone actually uses this, but you could if you want to. Then it's pretty easy. You kind of just attach it to the hilt, and it creates that swooshing effect. You could, and then the normal one, you can just you can put one on each lightsaber. And then you have this beautiful kind of like tunic that he does have, that has a hood on it. And then of course the star of this thing is the base, which when he lifted all the rocks and just threw it at Vader all at once. So like I said, this is a recycled base. You could remove this thing, or you can move them around if you want to. It's attached in this clear pole. There's no this is the setting according to the manual, but I'm sure you could just play around with it. I wish they were getting connected. The Hot Toys, if you're listening, you could do this just so we can have one huge diorama. Just make them like a puzzle, like at the end, so they can kind of connect. So and then don't make the colors different, so that it's pretty consistent. So at the end of the day, like, if I could make one base that is made out, I guess I could just patch this up, but it would be more nice if you could, it's like a build a diorama, like, so you have an incentive to collect the entire line or whatever, so you can kind of piece them together, and now you have this one whole set. Tailoring for this guy looks, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Could it have been better? Sure. So you got this robe, which ironically, if you look at the photos, it looks like at the bottom part it is wired, but it's not. None of his outfit here is wired, not even the sleeve portion. I thought that could have been, that would have benefited from having wires right here by the sleeves, the cuff, because you could kind of pinch it in, and you don't see all of those things, so that would have been beneficial. You can see the boots made out of plastic, but it's not split cut, so it's and it's really hard as well. It's hard boot. Somebody already mentioned that in one of my previews, or one of my posts. They said they really love it, but the boots is problematic, and he's correct. It's not that big of a deal, but it could have been a lot better. Like, I wanted options, so let's just put it that way. But it is what it is. I'll take it. And then you can see it's two-part, by the way, this tunic / robe, or a part of his outfit. So you could remove this entirely, so you can kind of loosen up the belt to loop in the wires, which I will show later on how to install that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Like I said, could have been better, but it's okay. So let's look into the controversial head sculpt here. It's all right? Like, you saw the transition. It's not 100%. If I have to put a number on it, which I'm not a big fan of putting numbers in here, but I'll make it one. This is a solid 7. Maybe a high 8. Maybe at most it would have been an 8. It's the eyes. The wrinkles is not as much. There are screen captures of Ewan McGregor in this show where he has more wrinkles than a normal person. Maybe it's the heat. A lot of people are saying the 2 suns and all that stuff. But yeah, he seems a little smooth, on the smoother side, skin texture wise. He could have, he is older now, right? Like, and we gotta base it off not the timeline, but what we see in the screen. And in the screen, he looks a lot older. I do like the hair effect though. The was kind of swooshing. I like how they texture the hair where it's just not it's all over the place. It looks like the wind is blowing parts of the hair in other portions, which I really do love. The eyes is decent. You can rolling eyeball system. The beard could have been a little bit thicker or maybe longer. But let's get a closer look on this guy. He could have used a lot more age lines, though. Yeah, I would say that. He could have used more on the cheek, a little bit on the forehead, a little bit more pronounced, so to speak, to, I guess, bring the texture and the likeness up a bit. I think that would have helped. There's several angles where he looks better and some he doesn't. But overall, I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine. Articulation, there's no hindrance to this figure whatsoever. You can see the neck. Just be careful because the beard already touches the neck portion out there. So this is how it is connected if you're not familiar with them yet. So what I would do is, if I'm going to move this around, I would make sure that it's not touching the neck area because you don't want to scratch them, right? Like, it's going to be unsightly. You could move the neck independently. You see the eyes, that is the in-art problem right there. I think I just put that real quickly, but you can have him forward crunch, back crunch, not that much. The shoulders, you can have a T-pose. You can lift it as high as you want. This is a regular figure with regular clothing. You can move the arms forward pretty high. The elbows bend, past 90. You can do a little bit of, waist side to side there. There's bicep swivel. There's also, the joints on the wrist. Now you can have him kick up pretty high as well, to a point where you can have him sit comfortably. The pants are not pulling and tugging the figure, so you could have that pose. Bend on the knee. I know there's swivel on the thigh as well, but here, the unfortunate event where there's no boot articulation here, because the boot is hard. It's like a hard plastic. You can have them split, but, do you really want to? You don't want to break those pants, though. But overall, it's, pretty decent articulation that you could pull off with this figure. I love this figure. Like I said, I like the show. I love the figure. You can remove the back of the belt. And we're going to show that. So installation for this guy. So this is what you do have. You got the lightsaber with a long ass wire that you need to kind of like loop in. So first you got to remove the belt, and then you got to remove the fabric belt, and then you remove the Velcro on both sides. So now the waist is clear, so you can kind of loop in, just feed this wire all the way till you get to the armpits. And then when you do, you are kind of gonna grab it from the other end, like I already did it here. I don't want to bore you. It took me around less than 2 minutes to feed this in, and I was I was being careful and slow and methodical. So you put it there. So now you just got to put them together. It's quite easy. So you just pull this in the front. You just Velcro the back of this tunic or whatever you call them, and then the fabric belt, you also Velcro them. So you want to make sure that they're nice and tight, that you are, not leaving things hanging and loose. You got the belt buckle, you put it in the middle, put the pleather belt in its place, and that is it. That is basically it. You need to just fine tune. Look at the front there. I got a little bit of a creasing in there, so just make sure you pull them. And then now you see the wire is kind of at the bottom of his shirt, that you could easily maneuver to take it to the back. Now the only issue is that when you're changing hands and you don't want the lightsaber, it's kind of stuck inside. So one way to mitigate that is to also tuck the lightsaber inside. His robe is huge enough that you can hide that lightsaber. So for example, you want a different gesture that he doesn't want to hold a lightsaber whatsoever. Let's say you're gonna go with the handgun. So you tuck him inside, you can push him in all the way into the forearm, and there you go. This is how he looks like with that lightsaber inside of his arm. So this one, you just kind of just tug and pull just to make sure he looks great. You do have that wire towards the bottom of his shirt, which again, if you just really want to, you could hide that easily, very easily as well. You just kind of push them inside and no one even knows that you have a wire down there or a lightsaber inside of his he's like a magician hidden in his forearm. He just kind of flick it and there you go. So this is how it looks like. So I'm posting it right now. Most likely I'm gonna remove it. I'm not gonna lie to you, because photography wise, as good as that lightsaber lights up, and it is lit up right now, it's not that beneficial to me to leave it on. It just doesn't give the effect that I'm looking for. I'd rather Photoshop it. In this event, I just put it together just in case you want to see it, so if it's still not a bad look, but definitely not the best if you're just displaying it. For display purposes, it's nice to do what I just did. Now, for photography purposes, you don't really need that. So catch-22 out there. It doesn't matter. Right now, it's inside because I shot that clip earlier. That's what I have, and once I get tired of it, I'll just go ahead and remove it. And this is one of the poses that I got from the promotional pictures. I love this. I love this look. He's holding a stormtrooper, kind of like hostage, or shielding him, using him as a shield, shooting someone. I wish they gave him a dedicated hand for this handgun / blaster, because as you can see, it does work, but it's not optimal. It's not the best looking way of holding a handgun. Like, 2 fingers doesn't hold anything. There's a bit of a space between the pointing finger and the middle finger. I'm just not a fan of it. And this is him. I noticed that when I was wrapping it up, I don't have a picture of him wearing the cloak on or the hood on. When we talk about Obi-Wan, that's always something that is kind of like an iconic look for him, or any Jedi, is when you put the hood on. This hood has a wires at the end of it. However, for some reason, I just couldn't make it look right. I was trying to flatten it out. Maybe a wire in the middle would have helped. I don't know, but it works. There's also no wires. There's wires at the bottom. It's weird. At the bottom of this tunic, there's wires, but not at the edge on the side. So it doesn't even hold, and you want to create that sweeping, that windy look. It doesn't. It's not even present. And here is the famous look for Obi-Wan. Finally getting his moment. I think a year or 2 ago, we got Luke Skywalker getting his moment from The Mandalorian. Finally, that badass moment that we're looking for. Obi-Wan had this duel with Anakin in episode 3, but this one he had a duel with Vader, when he's already Vader. And I thought it was pretty iconic. I thought it was pretty good. I liked the battle scene. I think that's the highlight of the entire show, leading up to that scene. And for me, it didn't disappoint. When he lifted the rocks, very iconic. So you can recreate it using this diorama piece on his back, which I personally love. Final thoughts on the Kenobi Hot Toys. It depends. Do I recommend it as a figure? Absolutely. As a fan of the show, which I am, I love it. I love this figure. It is not perfect, but it hits all the right spots for me, at least. If you can't get past the head sculpt and you're looking for something better, I totally understand if you skip out on this. Like, the bar has been raised the past couple of years when it comes to 1/6, that having a figure that's remotely just not even close to the actor, I can understand why some collectors would take a pass on it. But this is one of those things where I just really like the show. I really like the character. This is something that I shared and special to me with my kids. So I have to have this guy. Just, it's a must. With that being said, I know its shortcomings before diving into it, and honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. I love the head sculpt. I think it improved. I like to have the character, and especially when I pair him up eventually with a Vader, recreating those scenes. He's so iconic and such a big part of this, world that we're in, that I feel like I just need to have one. And I finally did, and I feel like I currently have the best version of Obi-Wan, at least that's widely available, that is not custom made. I know to some that's not enough. If it's not, don't get it. But for me, had a lot of fun, and that's all that matters to me. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.